Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Miracle Mondays, and this is Dawn Petalino. And Miracle Mondays are just a day that I share tips and tools with you, how to get back into alignment with your higher self, to back to your center, where miracles are a natural outflow for your life. And last week I shared with you 2 ways to get into your vibration. I talked about your thoughts and I talked about your emotions. And we talked about with the thoughts to see if it's a lighter, freer feeling thought or if it's like a heavier, more discouraging thought. And the lighter, freer thought is always the truth. It's always the way your higher self is seeing you in the situation, and it is the truth of the situation. We talked about emotions as being stuck energy in our body, and sometimes it's not necessarily a thought, but it's an energy that's in our body that needs to be moved. It's stuck there because of past experience, and we have to have a direct experience of that emotion in order to move that energy back so we can open our hearts and raise that vibration again. I talk about in the book Peace, Power, and Miracles that there are 2 ways that you have to be in order to be in alignment with your heart, be in alignment with your higher self. And that is, you have to be present and you have to have an open heart. And that's why we talk about the thoughts as being present and the emotions as reopening our hearts. So I left you last week with the idea of, well, how can you tell if it's a thought or if it's an emotion? Well, the thought is this. If it's a thought, you have to ask yourself, is it familiar? Because a lot of times the thoughts that come, the beliefs that we have, are just habits. We've been thinking them for so long, we learned them, and so we just pick them up like the regular tool. I know worry for me was a habit. I just automatically picked it up. And if it's a habit, if it's familiar, and you just find yourself keep doing it, then you want to kind of stop and say, wait a minute, how does this feel to me? Is this lighter or is it heavier? And what's the truth here? Is this a familiar thought? Now, if it is just a familiar thought, then what happens that can help is you got to move your attention onto something else. Get your mind off the worry or whatever it is that you're focusing upon. The other thing you can do is practice affirmations. Again, and I talk about this in the book with some other things, but practice affirmations to help reassure yourself, to help calm the mind so you can be present. The other thing is it's an emotion. Now, if it's an emotion, what happens is, we had an experience in the past, and the experience, we ended up having this feeling, and from that feeling, we created a belief, and that energy is still stuck in our body. And it's something that's stuck energy if it keeps reoccurring. If you have an intense reaction to certain situations, as 12 steps say, if it's hysterical, it's historical. The other thing is, if the emotion is still there, even if you distract yourself, even if you do something positive, it's almost like you come back to yourself and there's still that sadness, there's still that anger. It's like this underlying thread in your life. Then it is an emotion that needs to be felt. And in that case, and I give you a process in the book to help hold that emotion in a way that heals it. It's just one of many, but it's one that you can use that's worked for me. So 2 ways to decide if it's a thought or if it's emotion is, one is check in, is it familiar, is it a habit, is this true, and then try to move on and practice affirmations, do something else. And if that doesn't seem to work and it seems to keep coming back and you have intense reactions to things, then that's an emotion that needs to be felt with and faced directly. I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you have a wonderful, miraculous Monday, and I look forward to seeing you next week.